Hey, everybody. How are you doing this evening, Jay?
I'm fine, Diamond. How are you tonight?
I'm great. I'm great on this Ace of Clubs day. It's my Mars card, right?
Yes, it
So I
is.
didn't get a chance to. And it's so funny because the Ace of Clubs is a very inquisitive card. And for my Mars card, it always shows up like that. But my personal card today is the Seven of Hearts. So I just been really in a cocoon. I'm like, this is deep. I've
Yeah.
been really in a cocoon, kind of, just.
Hibernating. I haven't even looked at my card today. Let me look at it now since we're already on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been so busy in this Eight of Clubs energy, just doing some investigative work and asking questions. This whole thing about this young lady who went missing in
Oh, I
Mexico.
know. With her being a five of spades, that was crazy. With her being a
Exactly.
five of spades and she was displacing that two of diamonds. So her energy just disrupted a lot of things. Not that she meant to, but that five of diamonds displacing the two of diamonds, the five of spades displacing the two of diamonds. That was a lot of disruption. And then the two of diamonds was displacing the five of clubs.
Yep. So it's a lot of change, a lot
A
of things
lot of
moving around,
change.
things shifting. Investigative work with that five, people wanting to get answers or really find the hidden behind what's going on with that five
Yeah.
energy. So yeah.
And then the five of clubs was retrograde in Pluto for 6 months. So this was going on. This was deep between them.
So 6 months. So you think it just started 6 months ago in terms of the planning?
Yeah, and the animosity and stuff. Yeah, this is the undercurrent of this. I saw that. I said, wow, this was planned out.
Wow.
Yeah, they did not like her.
Well, it shows. Whew, I wanted to see when we talk about what we're discussing tonight, if that shows up. I mean, it does, but if that shows up in the United States overall, the energy of the US in terms of how people feel and how those feelings are manifesting through the cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how y'all doing out there, fam? Let me see if the comments are on or the comments on. Anybody in the comment in the chat yet? How's everybody doing on this chilly day across the country? Except for Florida, right? Except for Florida. So tonight we're going deep into we have some major things that when you look at the end of the year, you want to get a chance of a look at what's happening so you can prepare for the next year. And the Five of Hearts has been something that has been, popping up. And I discovered that it was when I discovered that it was the Jupiter card to the United States. I knew the sad season was going to be very interesting, and it's almost here. So we are going to be looking at the Five of Hearts 2020, right? And we all remember that. It seems like it was decades ago, right?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
seems like it was, hey, Lisa, it seems like it was decades ago, 2020. It doesn't even feel like I'm saying it's like time has definitely done a flip and change because it seems like that's something that's so far in our rear view mirror. We know
Right.
it happened, right? But there's so many unanswered things for me, but there's not a lot of things that they talk about. So it's we're always on going from one trauma to the next. So we can't really sit and process what's
Hmm.
happening, and fives need to process, right?
Yep, they do.
hmm with fives being ruled by ruling Mercury, that time to really do that real deep look at things, it's like being distracted and scattered and stuff like that can cause you to miss things, right? And especially with the Five of Hearts because it's emotional. So looking at the Five of Hearts and looking at where it's sitting in Jupiter and fives, Jupiter and fives, yeah, that's really intentional, right?
It
You
is.
really, that's a time where you really need to be more stationary. And that's what it makes me look at the Five of Hearts year because the Five of Hearts year was so debilitating for us as a country, right? Because we
Hmm.
went into that cycle of really being sent home, right? We went home and we got a chance to really look at things from a different perspective. So we're going to look at that now. We're going to go into those to the Five of Hearts year and look at the things that were happening with the cards and with the numbers. Alrighty.
Yep, let's get it.
So we're going to start with the life spread. Now, if you have my book, you can go and pull up your life spread, or you can just follow along with us. But we're going to start with the life spread. We're going to start with the Five of Hearts. Now, the Five of Hearts is it's a very interesting energy, and it definitely is tied to children. For sure. When we think about it representing autism, it lets us know that it has something to do with children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And special needs, and just a more free energy, right? It's just not, it's just you think of a child, and definitely think of a special needs child and their approach. It's Mars Saturn. So it being Mars Saturn, it's telling you that that five can be immature, right? It could be something that has to develop over time. But how does that happen? Because Mars is who we are, in the beginning of things. It's how we get things done. It's our persona, it's the language we speak, it's all of the things that we do when we know, and the better we know how to handle that, the better it comes across, because it's Saturn. And Saturn is the gatekeeper, right? Saturn is like, hey, no, go back, you can't come, sit down. The restrictions, the constrictions, and all of the things that we feel from Saturn. Think Mars and Saturn, yeah, not so good, right?
Not so good at all, especially if you want to exert that Mars energy and push forward. Saturn is always a disciplinarian. Like, all right, so how are we evaluating what you've done? Do you deserve this recognition? Have you done the work? Have you put in the work? And so it's constantly like a push pull with that Five of Hearts energy in that position.
And it being a builder. So, fives, definitely the Five of Hearts. It has the Five of Clubs as its supporting karma card. So it's a builder, whatever it's doing, the game, we look at gamers, we look at sports, that Five of Hearts shows up a lot. So it's definitely something
Mm-hmm.
that you want to be aware of when you're doing something. And when we think about the Five of Hearts year, and you having to go home, and to your building was what would it be if you had to go home in the Five of Hearts year? Your family, right? Your children, your relationships, everything that had to do with the home in the Five of Hearts year was on Front Street, because businesses sent you home to work from home, schools closed, and all of those kind of things. So we had a lot of interesting relationships developing, right? We saw it on camera with the Zoom meetings with the teachers, and the adapting to all of those things. So Five of Hearts year was a very interesting year.
Now, Diamond, let me ask. The Five of Hearts here was 2021, not so?
So in well, yeah, but in the United States, in my brain, remembers July to July. So sometimes
Oh,
I partial it off, but the Five of Hearts year would have started in January, right?
yeah, got
So
it.
when I'm looking at the spreads, I'm stuck in the middle of July to July, but
Mhm.
yeah, would have started would have started then, but we're looking at that July part. That kind of
Mhm.
July is that the year started in July for the United States, right?
Yep.
So how are we going to go deep into this? How are we going to look at this with the numbers and the five and that year? How are we going to look? What was that year in numerology?
Oh, so the Five of Hearts here, that was the five universal year, and that was a year of change. And coming out of that four, where we were restricted and really feeling the constraints and the heaviness of the four, and all of those odd and unusual things, because nobody was expecting that to happen when COVID hit and we were in lockdown. And so four really had us feeling caged, and five is all about change. All of the changes in the systems, changes in the way of life, changes in the way that we communicate, because as you mentioned, 5 is ruled by Mercury. And so just finding different ways for us to adapt to talking to each other, the use of Zoom, everybody jumping on these online platforms that had been around for years, because I was using these at work since 2007, but it really taken off in 2020. And so finding new ways to party, finding new ways to just interact with each other. Also, as you mentioned, finding new ways to love. This was a time in that 5 energy when people change directions in their career, in their lives, in their relationships, because 5 wants to be free. 5 wants to explore. 5 wants to find new territory. 5 wants to travel. So 5 is all about like really enjoying life. All of the things that please the 5 senses would appeal to the 5. And so coming out of that lockdown, for those who remained in lockdown, they really wanted to go wild and have a good time and just change the course, change the direction of things. And that's to be expected, because that's the 5 energy. So if relationships ended during that time, that's what had to happen, because you really get to see who it is that you're with. Can you be with this person in a situation where it's just the two of you? Can you be with this person in a situation where it's the two of you, but you're separated by distance? Because that's a 5 of hearts energy as well. 5 of hearts, if you're in a relationship with a 5 of hearts, or you have a 5 of hearts in your chart, like I do as my Venus, you like long distance relationships because you just want to have your space. Can the other person deal with that? And so it raised and illuminated all of those issues that come with the 5. And that's what catapulted us into the 6 that we're in. But the 5 is really just about change and adapting and making a major decision. Are you going to go this way in the fork of the road, or are you going to go that way?
And it was interesting because we look at the 4 horse decade, right? And people looking at sitting from their 4 horse decade at the end of that year, people were still in the 4 horse decade, going into the 4 horse decade in 2020, and looking at 2019 and how people were feeling like this is going to be great, right? People
Mhm.
were 2019. There was a lot of people were feeling pretty good about moving forward and hitting that hard stop. It was a hard stop. I mean, that was we stepped into the 4 horse decade, and it just was like wow. And that would make sense because fours are ruled by Uranus, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Ruled by Uranus, and Uranus wants to come and disrupt whatever's in its path. People have this misconception that the 4 is coming just to build on top of what is. The 4 is coming to assess first, because 4s come look around, see what they like, see what they don't like, and then they destroy, and then they build anew. I've
Yes.
never met a 4 who came on the scene and said, "Oh, I like the way things are going. Let me continue this." No, they want to create it in a way that suits them. And that's what the 4 did. The 4 came and disrupted our whole way of life, took down all of the structures, took down the way that we were meeting with each other and socializing in public, and said, "You know what? You're going to find new ways to do all of this, because I'm putting boundaries and restrictions. Money can't spend the way you want to spend it. Parties can't happen the way you want to have it. Jobs can't go down the way money's not flowing the way that you were expecting it to flow." And so we're going to put a hard stop, and you're going to have to find new ways to adapt. And then we're going to impose all of these laws and this oversight on you, so that you could feel as though you're constantly being monitored, which we were and still are to a certain extent, because that hasn't gone away. But that came with that Uranus energy.
Yeah, yeah. Because Uranus is freedom. And thinking about stepping from 2019 and just feeling that freedom, right? Feeling the
Mhm.
change. And people who don't know anything about, the cards and astrology and stuff like that, just were feeling it. But Uranus is so unpredictable, right? So stepping into 2020 and COVID, and not necessarily, if things could go left, they can go right. The powers that be saw opportunity and they went for it, right?
Yep.
Things were not done correctly. Things were done, because we weren't prepared. Nobody was prepared for that sudden hit of COVID, right? It was unexpected, but it also fell into the plan, right? Fell
Mm.
into the plan that it fell into the plan of us looking at that Five of Hearts, because the Five of Hearts is the builder, and it's an emotional builder, and people were emotionally charged, right? So going home, I would love to see the statistics on, divorce
Mm,
on from that year, because the Five of Hearts is the card of divorce for sure.
yes, it is.
Mars Saturn, yeah, that would be, you would feel that you've done all that you could do in the next step, right? Because how many people, especially in these days and times, how many people stand toe to toe with Saturn and do what they got to do? A lot of people, they get toe to toe with Saturn, and it's like this relationship just has to end,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I could see that that would have been a lot of separations, a lot of divorces, especially with people. For me, what I found was that a lot of people go to work for 8 hours and then plus travel time to be away from their families. Right? It's like I come home in the evening. Even if we have dinner, or even if we're doing anything together, we are. But you get up in the morning and you had to figure it out, right?
Yep.
Because you weren't going out the door. So I think that put a lot of strain on a lot of relationships, that you were around each other all day long, the children and you. And especially you think of the male in the family, because that's not, no, that's not what I do, right? I'm working and I have to work. But you have children running around the house that don't know anything about that, right? So
Hmm.
how do you keep children, sitting somewhere for 8 hours? It's not going to happen,
It's
right?
not. It's not.
So I'm sure that put a lot of strain on the relationship. So when we look at the plate was for that year in the grand solar is 64. So if we look at plate 64, and the Six of Hearts was in the sun already, right? So we have the Six of Hearts in the sun, and we're looking at where we're going with that Five of Hearts. It was just facing the Queen of Clubs. And what's interesting about that is the Queen of Clubs has its Venus, the challenging karma card, is the Five of Hearts. So yes,
Mm.
and the Eight of Spades was sitting there, right?
Yep.
So that has a lot to do. The Eight of Spades has a lot to do with health. It was saying that whatever was happening, you got the abilities to overcome it, right? Because that's what eights are.
Yep. Eights of the strength, the power, just pushing through that strong-headed, fixed energy with that eight. Eights can overcome a lot. And so with that five, it had two five, the Five of Hearts and the Five of Clubs supporting it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was all about that change in the way that we think, change in the way that we love. But definitely with, like you said, with the health, you could overcome it. But with the Five of Hearts challenging it, that's an emotional kind of sickness as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so
Mm-hmm.
even though you had the strength to overcome it, we know matters of the heart take time to heal.
Yeah, and then the separation, because families that got sick, it was like you couldn't even see your families, right? You
Hmm.
couldn't, you couldn't, families were, if they were in the hospital or something, you couldn't, we were on lockdown. So that Five of Hearts challenging that Eight of Spades, and Eight of Spades is about health. It is, all spades are about health.
Right.
And that's sitting in Mercury Saturn. So it was definitely telling you that, for me, we look at things, the underbelly of the sicknesses and the illnesses and stuff that were coming up. That what do they call those things? Those things that linger. What are those sicknesses called? I can't even think of what it is. When you have, when you were saying they didn't die from COVID, they died from other,
Comorbidities or what?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that Eight of Spades, that Five of Hearts is challenging karma card, and it's in Mercury. So it was definitely telling us about things that would be coming up, things that would be coming up is Saturn. So our structures, and it was going far back to childhood,
Yes, it
right?
was.
With Mercury.
Yep.
So looking at how we developed the illnesses that we had, right? Because COVID came along, and people who were for had any kind of preconditions, COVID just exacerbated it.
That's right, because these things were laying dormant in the body. And I guess with the being around family and those things triggering you emotionally, things were flaring up that people were kind of masking by going to work. With the constant hustle and bustle, you kind of can slip through those diseases, and illnesses can kind of slip through the cracks because you're not feeling it because you're constantly moving. But once you sit still and the body has time to catch up with itself, yeah, those issues rise to the surface.
And then when we look, this is something that's really important, and it's the nine of diamonds. The nine of diamonds is sitting in trans Pluto, and trans Pluto is a very interesting place because it is the eighth house, but it's a high octave of the eighth house because it's you. So, in the eighth house, we have those intimate relationships that are going on, connections. But with this sitting in trans Pluto, it's about you. This is about you getting prepared in that eighth house so that the things that normally come up that you may feel are associated with someone else because of that eighth house. Because remember, the eighth house is shared resources. Right. It's about those intimate relationships, but trans Pluto is your intimate relationship with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So that nine of diamonds sitting there was telling us, looking at our health and looking at things and things that we had to change. The nine of diamonds is about our resources. It's about, things can come to an end, but they don't come to an end without there being something that's coming, nines are always it. Yes, nines are always cycling. Right. So that nine of diamonds, it was telling us that there were things we had to let go of. Yep. We had to let go of certain, definitely looking at COVID, we had to let go of how our bodies got into, got so susceptible.
Yep.
Right.
And let go of our values. The things that we valued, we had to reassess them and see what was really important to us.
Yeah, and that nine of diamonds is the space in the ten of clubs, which is the master teacher. Yes, and the jack of spades is a challenging common card. And jacks are ruled by the number 11, right? So that's a master number. So trans Pluto is helping you to master something. It's helping you to get prepared to step into whatever it is that you see in your mind's eye. That's why trans Pluto is so intimate. Because the work that you have to do intimately is what's going to open that door. Mm-hmm. It's not about people, places, and things. So if you're in an intimate relationship and something is coming up, this is for somebody to really look at it and see themselves without that other person being a distraction. And that's difficult in relationships, right?
Sure is, especially when you don't want to look in the mirror and see that person staring back is you. A lot of people are in denial about that. But I wanted to ask, with that jack of spades challenging the nine of diamonds, does that mean that we could have overcome that by embracing spirituality and really becoming that spiritual initiate from 2020 moving forward?
That part. Yeah, that part. Because the jack of spades definitely has connections to the ancestors, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's a court card. That's a very influential card. Jack of spades has a lot of influence because it's the gatekeeper to the king and the queen. Yeah. So we were challenged to use things differently at a higher octave. Because that trans Pluto is you. It's how you got to where you are. It's like the illnesses and the things that you have. This was our time to really look at those things. If we look at statistics now, statistically, all of those diseases would be eradicated because on people's death certificates, they were writing COVID. So they didn't write the people died of diabetes or cancer. Nope. So if the universe is looking at it as saying COVID cured that, right?
Yep. Yeah. But we know that was all part of it. But you're right. All of those things were from underlying conditions that were there previously, but COVID got all the glory because, there was a reward for that.
Yeah, but the universe is, that was, they were thinking about that, but the universe is looking at it as that these diseases can be eradicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can go away just that easy by you changing the box, right? You just click, you checked off COVID instead of high blood pressure.
Exactly.
Right, so you got thousands and maybe millions of people who those conditions weren't looked at for a long time.
But I wanted to ask, with the seven of hearts in Jupiter, Mercury,
Mm-hmm.
and seven of hearts being the card of diet and
Mm-hmm.
veganism, if we were to change or adjust the diet at that time, it's looking like that would have been a
Yeah,
reward, right? In this position with Jupiter, Mercury.
and it's the space in the six of
It's the
diamonds.
diamonds, which is karmic. Exactly.
Yeah, so this was okay. What were you doing? What responsibility are you going to take for how you got there? Because the six of diamonds is the space in the king of clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus, Uranus.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant that their diets had to change,
Yep.
right? The way you eat food had to change. The seven of hearts is the food Nazi. It's the card of Dr. Sabi. That is his card. And we know that Dr. Sabi has a regiment that he just has a way of how he has developed all the things that he has developed. And it's sitting in the six of diamonds, which is past. That's the past.
Mm-hmm.
Six of diamonds, sixes are karmic coming together to bring things into balance. So we needed to look at that. We needed to look at a lot of things because food, the main thing about COVID was inflammation.
Yes, and still is.
Yeah.
Inflammation is the seven of hearts as well. What card is for
The
inflammation?
card of inflammation is, I have it. Let me see if I have it in my cardology book. I have a cardology book of words. It's a ten of spades.
Ooh, ten of spades sitting right here in Venus, Uranus, displacing the nine of
Displacing the nine
spades.
of spades.
Wow.
Right? So inflammation, the ten of spades has the seven of hearts in Jupiter
Mm, mm,
for life,
life.
right? So inflammation is the core of pretty much every disease,
Yep.
right?
Exactly right. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. So it's the space in the nine of spades. The nine of spades is another healer. And the seven of spades is a master healer. The ten of spades is a master healer. The ten of spades is someone that can do Reiki on you from Australia.
Mm, mm.
That's how powerful that they are. So inflammation is something that you want to think about. Think about what inflammation is. Think about what it does, right? Think about what it does to everything in your body.
Yeah.
And it's the space in the nine of spades. And the nine of spades is what? What is the nine of spades supporting you to do?
To change the way that we approach our work, change the way that we approach our ideals, our spirituality. It's just like a rebirth.
And the nine of spades is displacing the ten of hearts.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Mars
So
family
that's
together.
Mars, Jupiter. It's you, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is, Jupiter is your philosophy. Mars is you, is how are you developing inside of the work that needs to be done, right? So that nine of spades was saying that this time needed to come to an ending, right?
Yeah.
And there needed to be something that came out of it, right?
Mm.
The two of hearts is the Mercury card, right? Those definitely is rare opportunities. Two of hearts only has one birthday a year. So this was an opportunity for us to, be at home together
Have it.
and work on these things, right?
Mm-hmm. Have a
And
brand new love.
yes, and the Venus calls the four hearts,
Yeah.
right? Now we were working from home because Venus rules the workplace. The four hearts is the home.
Yep.
So we were working from home,
Yes, we were.
right? And then the Queen of Spades is the
The
Mars
Mars
card.
card. Displacing the King of Diamonds.
That part. So you had to learn how to the money, and this takes to the money that was coming. What did
Hmm.
you do with the money?
What did you do with it? How were you manifesting that money? And with the Three of Clubs challenging it, what artistic abilities were you bringing with it? What creative ideas were you bringing to that manifestation? Because we had to think outside of the box to make money for those who were home but did not have a job or was not lucky enough to have a work from home situation. What creativity are you coming up with to manifest this King of Diamonds, all these resources?
That part. You were getting, stimulus and unemployment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Queen of Spades sitting in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Queen of Spades was sitting in your face saying, "Okay, you gotta learn how to work this. This
Yep.
is this is an opportunity." Queen of Spades is a mirror. So we were learning, and then the Two of Diamonds was a Jupiter. So what kind of opportunities, what kind of connections did we make?
Yep.
Clubhouse,
Mm-hmm.
Clubhouse, right?
Yep. That's just Two of Diamonds is the clubhouse card.
Yeah, we stepped right in the clubhouse, right?
Yep.
And so that Five of Hearts was symbolizing the change of the game. And we know that out of the five comes a six. But when we look at that Five of Hearts and we think about the opportunities, because the Five of Hearts, if we look at the Five of Hearts on the life spread, it is supporting that Three of Clubs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it what is the Three of Clubs? It sits in Saturn Mars, right?
Yep.
So the Three of Clubs is a very ambitious card. That's Kobe Bryant's card. And I don't think you could argue with anybody about the ambition of Kobe Bryant. So, what kind of ambition do you have? What kind of ambition do you have? And what kind of tenacity do you have,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of focus do you have? Because to have the Five of Hearts supporting you, that could be interesting.
Sure can make you change and want to have a change of heart or just be scattered all over the place with that Five of Hearts because fives want to be free. They can't really sit and focus on things too long. And so you having that tenacity plus that urge to be free, constantly battling that self. But again, if you're thinking about this Five of Diamonds that is challenging the Three of Clubs, you're thinking about a change in your resources, whether that change is up or down. And so that should be the determining factor as to how hard it is you push.
And the Five of Diamonds is the Jupiter card.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge that Five of Diamonds is challenging you because it's about resources, but it's the Jupiter card. So what is it telling you that it's going to build, right?
Yes, it is.
It's going to build. You got all that five energy, but it's going to build. So how do you build? How do you do the things that you do? How did people take that money at that time and make it work for them? Right. I'm sure there were a lot of business. I started my business then. Right. And that Seven of Diamonds is the card of investment and it is the Uranus card.
Mm.
So the investments that had to be made, I mean, every penny that I got went back into what I was doing.
Doing.
Right. So that Seven of Diamonds is saying you got to invest.
Mm.
So when we look at that Five of Hearts and how, like I said, going home, I've spoken to more, and I know we all have, and some of us were in those situations where how tough it was to be at home every day, right?
I loved it. It was no different for me. So I was just right at home, right in my element.
Mm-mm. I left the house every day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, going to the park. Absolutely. I was
Yeah.
outside. I wasn't relegated to the house in that extent, like I was
Right, right,
staying
right,
in.
right,
No, I was
right,
on a train for sure. And it was
right.
nice to take the train at that time because
I know, and it was nobody out. I was like,
yeah.
everybody is home. It's like just doing. I just experienced, and it was so interesting because everything, the birds and nature and everything came alive. Right? They were
Mm-hmm.
thriving because they didn't have all that interference.
And smog and
So,
noise.
being out in the park and just discovering life, just discovering life during that time, that whole year. I mean, I'm telling you, I felt like it was my world. It was my world. So I was like, maybe they made it. And what is it? It was looking at it now, where it's so hard now to get people back into the groove of being back outside. It's like
I
people still on
know.
outside, right?
I know. So then, Diamond, let me ask you, with the Five of Hearts moving into plate 65, 2021, how does that pain body manifest here? Because we mentioned a lot with the diet, but is this still the same theme in this year, or is it more around emotions and finances?
It's well, because it's the space in Mercury. This is the change. Is because when we think about the Three of Hearts, it's the first card out
Mm-hmm.
of the garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the card that we when we look at the pure spirit, we look at the Ace of Hearts sitting there, and why it's called the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
But it's the most detached card in the deck. It's Mercury. So at the Five of Hearts sitting there, you could really see where it would have added on to the family drama and the family miscommunication and stuff, because
Mm.
that Three of Hearts wants to be free,
Yep. Must have
right?
options.
Yeah. So with the Five of Hearts sitting in that house, I could see if we didn't have COVID, it would have impacted households in a different way. Definitely would have impacted people being more experimental.
Mm.
Maybe families coming together in a different way, moving in together, more polyamorous relationships and stuff like
Right.
that. Definitely, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see more, with people losing, their homes and jobs like that, and society, turning that way, right?
Yeah.
But we weren't groomed for that, right? We don't like each other like this. So it's not easy to go to a poly society, right?
It's
But with
not.
that Five of Hearts there, the card of divorce, the card of separation, sitting in Mercury, the space in the Three of Hearts. Yeah,
That
it
is
would have.
all
It would have
polyamorous.
made more sense, even if men, but it would have made more sense for women to
Mm-hmm.
start living together and
Mm-hmm.
raising the children together and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm. It's
right?
interesting that you say that, because you're right. They both have similar energies with the three and the five as far as the relationships go. But the same thing that would attract them would be the same thing that would repel them, because threes and fives are so similar in their nature. They both like to have a good time. They both like sex. They both like alcohol, drugs, all of those things that feed the senses. They both like to have, like you said, that the options and the freedoms, but those are the things that will make them clash. So those numbers clash. So after a while, they would think that would be the solution, but then they would start to butt heads. So there would be a lot of drama in
Lot
that
of
house at
drama.
the time.
Yeah, and the Five of Clubs is the Venus card,
Hmm.
displacing the Queen of Clubs. So for me, the thing of the how we would have come together as communities and more of a communal living situation. With that Five of Hearts is facing that Three of Hearts, that challenging common cause the Ace of Hearts, which is the garden. The relationships in the garden didn't need anything. So you wouldn't be in a relationship in that house having you wouldn't have that same thing where we say somebody is cheating and somebody is this, and no, it would just be communal living,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That would be a non-factor.
Yeah, didn't see. Yeah, right. It's like we have to do this because of what's happening out there. This person doesn't have anywhere to live. We can come together and pool our resources.
Exactly right.
Right. But we don't like each other like that.
No, we don't. Not after a long period of time. We could like it for a couple of months, but after those 2 months are done, it's a wrap. I'm telling you.
Yeah, because the Ace of Hearts was in Saturn. So you
Mm-hmm.
feel you wouldn't, it's a challenging common card and it's Saturn.
Mm, mm.
So that has to be a very high vibrational house. Has to be people that are not jealous hearted, had to be some real exceptional people, right? So yeah, we're definitely and then the four clubs, which is a transformation card, the
It's
five of
Jupiter,
hearts is
Jupiter.
Jupiter, right?
Mm-hmm. Four clubs. Oof, we could talk all night about that four clubs. We did already. If y'all haven't heard, y'all can go to Clubhouse and listen to the rooms. We broke down that four clubs.
Yep.
Ooh.
So it being Jupiter is, Jupiter represents it represents, how you were gonna get to that place, right?
Yep.
Because being in a relationship, it requires stuff that we're not taught. I just want to be married. I just want to have children. It's not the extra stuff that comes along with that, the person.
Exactly.
The person that comes along with it changes the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Changes the game. What do they want? How are they going to fit into it? So that five of hearts is saying that, hey, you gotta let everybody just gotta be.
That's it. Everybody has to be free to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Who they
Everybody got
are.
to be free to be who they are. It's not about you're my husband, you're my wife. No, that's not.
But
Because
that's
it
the
would.
thing. What you said, it makes so much sense because with this four clubs being the Jupiter card, the four of clubs wants to intellectualize everything.
Mhm.
And so with that five of hearts trying to give everybody room and freedom, this four is like, we got to make this make some type of sense. Like this has to be done in a particular structure and order. And so that's where the disconnect would come in. This is crazy how these cards
Yeah,
break it down.
yeah. Depending on where you are, and because we weren't prepared in the four hearts decade. Because remember, the three of hearts decade. And we're going into the four hearts decade, and the four hearts is in, it's Uranus, so it's improving upon the three of hearts decade, right? We
Mm-hmm.
wasn't prepared.
Hmm.
We weren't prepared for poly. We weren't prepared to not have to be attached to someone the way that we're attached to people,
That's true.
right? It was saying to get prepared to be in a home with somebody like that you had to change your values. You had to start respecting, people's boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a whole lot to be in. When you used to going to work for 8 hours, 9 hours travel time and all that, you come home, you may have time and appreciation for somebody, right? You may miss them.
Right.
Right, but if you with them all day long, you see sides of people that you,
Didn't even know it was there.
right, it's like you know So that five of hearts with that three of hearts is like just go in your room and have a cup of tea.
That's it. That's it right there.
Nope, I'm pretty sure people were fighting. People were like, "No, this is my
Mm,
space. This is."
mm. So before, because the time is going, this conversation is so rich. Looking at what's going on now and this year with the five of hearts, so things are changing drastically with the five of hearts coming into Sag. How is that happening now?
So when we look at the five of hearts now, and it is space in the ace of hearts, it definitely leads to us being more comfortable in relationships. Should be.
Should be with this
we
ace
should
of
be
hearts.
we should be more comfortable in relationships. We should be more willing to not be so easy to quit on a relationship, for sure, because the five of hearts is the card of divorce. So I definitely, like I said, I'm going to look up the stats because I didn't even think about that. But with it displacing that ace of hearts, the challenging come because the ace of diamonds. So what new opportunities did we what came up in this new year?
Right.
In that six of hearts year, what new things came up? Because the six of hearts is about healing.
It is. It is. And I'm glad you said that because with the four diamonds being the Mercury card to the five of hearts on this plate, people are having a new approach to relationships and staying in it because of that financial stability that will come. Let's stay and let's build.
Yeah, because you think of rent now. Look at
Yep.
rent, and you thinking about, yeah, in the past it was easier to leave if you didn't have to pay two rents. Like if you got a family now and you separating and you got to pay child support, it's like that whole song. It's cheaper to keep her.
Sure as hell
That's
is.
right.
Surely.
So I do find that there are a lot of people that are staying in households together. They're separated, but they're still living in the same households together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I definitely have seen that happen this year. But when we look at the Queen of Diamonds in the Sun, the Queen of Diamonds in the Sun, and the Five of Hearts is the Mercury card, right?
Yep.
And the Six of Clubs is displacing it. So excuse me, what is the communication? Where's the communication is going on? Because if we look at that Five of Hearts, we know that it is the Jupiter card this year. And it is waiting for, sad season. It's like the marker is sad season because we have so many things that we have not done, so many things that have not been addressed. It's like you look at the population and people didn't go back to work. Where did they go?
Exactly.
Where did people go? What are people doing? And are people waiting, for the government to do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Homelessness and, rents, and the rents have risen so high. Do you think they're going to lower them?
They haven't.
Right. So is that the new normal, that rents are going to be, so when we look at that, when we look at sad season, we know that there's going to be a change. We know that Five of Hearts is going to change, and it's going to change based on how you have functioned, because Jupiter is the higher knowledge. It is when you go to school for 4 years and you come out and you take your degree and you put it on the wall, that's where the work begins. So the Five of Hearts in sad season is going to test you. Going to test you. It's like this is where the work begins. It's like this is sad is all about your philosophy. So it's that ninth house, and we're going to see what we're made out of, right?
Yep.
You see what you made out of. Like you've had these last 2 years. Now what?
Now what? What are you building upon? What are you expanding?
Yep. What is your philosophy? Are you cutting and running? Because the Five of Hearts is the gypsy. And it is definitely someone, it's called the ghosting card, because it, when you look at the Five of Hearts, Mars, Saturn, it ghosts you because it's its reputation. It's like the Five of Hearts is very clear about its reputation.
Yep.
So when you challenge its reputation, it's Mars. Mars wants to be known, right? Mars is it's very aggressive, but the Five of Hearts can be emotional. So if you challenge it, it would just go inside. If you have an autistic child and you watch that child, that's the Five of Hearts. Is like you can be watching the child and all of a sudden the child isn't displaying anything to you. It found comfort and safety inside of itself. You no longer exist, right? It has shut down. So that Five of Hearts, that's why it's called the card of ghosting, because it's able to go into a safe place because of Saturn. It's Saturn. It's like you messing with my reputation now. You messing with my core. You're messing with my structures. You're messing with the things that I've built, right? And with the Five of Hearts, that's emotional. So that's not structures that we think about. Emotional structures are sensitive, right?
Extremely.
So that Five of Hearts, you're addressing them in an emotional way, and they don't like that. Five of Hearts does not like to be challenged in emotional ways, right?
That's the truth. I have the Five of Hearts as my Venus card, and so I definitely respond that same way because, like you said, when the reputation is challenged, that's our way of waging war. With this Mars card, it's a silent war. Like,
Yep.
all right, we're just gonna leave and exit stage left and
Mhm.
leave you with all of that to deal with because even though it's in the house of the Five of Clubs, it was just talking about that communication and that conversation in the debating card. We're not waiting to have any of that. Chances are we already exhausted all the possibilities with that Five of Clubs, and just the only resort is to leave.
And show you better than I can tell you. That's
Mm-hmm.
Mars. Mars wants to be recognized. Mars is standing there saying, I've done it. Now you need to recognize me. That's why Mars' ego is so powerful. You know, like if you're talking to an Aries, they want to argue everything, right?
Everything.
Everything because their ego is like, you need to recognize that I know what I'm talking about. But you might know what you're talking about, but you know what you're talking about from a very limited perspective,
Effective.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Mars takes time to mature. So if you're talking to someone and you haven't, you may have read about it, right? But you haven't experienced it. That's where the rubber hits the road for Mars. It's like I know what I'm talking about. No, you haven't experienced it yet, right? So that ego can be very touchy. So with that Five of Hearts, it's the builder. It's that Five of Hearts is the builder. It's building on something. So if it's building on something and you come along and you're pointing out, you're pointing out, yeah, you ain't all of that. This, yeah, yeah, right. And that's the thing, I always think of the thing that Kobe Bryant said that was so important for him was that if I'm doing something, I show up. It's like I got practice at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I go to bed at a proper time the night before. I get a good night's sleep. So I wake up and I'm available. That's the Five of Hearts. It's like I'm building this. So when
Right.
you come along and you challenge them and they know that you didn't go to bed till 2:30 in the morning, they'll have no respect for you.
Mm-mm.
So the
Mm-mm.
Five of Hearts thinks it's better than you, right?
Yep.
Because it went to bed at 8 o'clock, it got a good night's sleep, and it's gonna perform better. Where you went to bed at 2:30 and you're not gonna perform well.
That's right.
So
And
the
he
Five
was
of
right.
Hearts is literally say, I'll show you, right?
He
Because
was.
the Five of Hearts is a card of the athlete too.
Yep.
So it will show you. It will. The Five of Hearts will retreat, and yeah, that's fives. Fives will retreat, group, and then come back out.
Mm-hmm.
So with it being in Jupiter in sad season, this is what we have to look at. We got to look at how are we going to regroup and how are we going to come back out on the other side of it, right? How are we going to come back? It's like sad season is only 30 days. So if you have been doing the things that you need to do when sad season hits, it's like, wow, here you go. But if you haven't, it's gonna make you really have to look at things,
Mm-hmm. Especially
right?
with Nine of Diamonds and Neptune. Absolutely.
And the Queen of Spades and Pluto.
Yeah.
You got the Queen of Spades and Pluto, and the Queen of Spades has the Five of Hearts where. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I mean the Five of Hearts has
Spades.
the Queen of Spades in Uranus. So when you look at that, when you look at that card and you sitting around now and you like, no, the Queen of Spades, all of us for 30 days or 30, how many days is in sad season gonna be bouncing off of each other with that Queen of Spades.
Yeah.
It's Pluto, right? So you gonna be bouncing, and this is where it's gonna show where okay, I've done what I needed to do. Pluto is those are those intimate relationships, those are those shadows. So
Mm-hmm.
people who haven't done what they needed to do in sad season, they're gonna try to just weasel their way in,
To get
right?
some of your spoils.
Yeah, they're gonna weasel their way in. We know people like that. It's
Oh,
like you'll have somebody who came into town for the holiday and they homeless. right?
Homeless, right? Planning to stay for the whole damn
They
season, never
planning to
leaving.
stay, planning to stay. I'm telling you, this is what happened with that Queen of Space. I'm telling you, don't let them do it. With that Queen of Spades, people are going to think about the Queen of Spades is the mirror. It is the manifester. It is the most powerful card in the deck. Let only one rung down from the King of Spades, right? And it's
Yep.
the Pluto card.
Mm.
Don't let it happen. They coming for you. They coming. They got their plans, and they see. They like, oh, you ain't even. They ain't even gonna know. You ain't gonna notice. Yes, I do. I see you.
Yep. It's crazy with the 3 of diamonds being the reward. Absolutely.
Yes. The 3 of diamonds is the reward. You ain't gonna never be able to evict them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Mm-hmm. They not, and it's still sitting in the house of the Queen of Spades. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the shenanigans that are going to be happening. And that also gives to us to look at Donald Trump,
Okay.
right? Because we're thinking that Donald Trump is, he's annoying for sure. But look at that 5 of hearts. And the 5 of hearts is the card that supports the 3 of diamonds, right?
Mm.
It sits with its 5 of clubs. So with him displacing the Queen of Spades, and the Queen of Spades, it's the reward to the 5 of hearts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that he's going to come in to usher some sort of relief or change in the situation from the 5 of hearts?
He but from the well, he's definitely gonna expose something.
Well, he's been doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely gonna expose something because since it's the card of self mastery, and he's sitting in the house now, he can prove who haven't done what they're supposed to do. So that would be his whole campaign,
Mm.
right? His whole
Mhm.
campaign could be based on you didn't do nothing
Right.
since you've been in office,
Right.
right? Especially this season with because the banks know how many houses are going in foreclosure. They already know that. So with all of the homes that are going in foreclosure, the interest and all of the stuff, and people not being able to pay their bills, they already know that.
Mm.
So his whole campaign could be just pulling off the covers that for 2 years you didn't do anything to protect
Your
people.
citizens
Yeah. Yeah.
from getting bankrupt.
And the King
Mhm.
of Hearts is where? Where's the King of Hearts sitting at? King of Hearts is
Sitting
sitting,
in Saturn, Jupiter,
yep, displacing
the
the
3 of spades.
3 of spades. Mhm. So yeah, he need to pull something out of his little bag of tricks.
Yep. Yep. Challenging karma card, 6 of diamonds. So this is their karmic.
And that's his Neptune card.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in Neptune with the 6 of diamonds, which is it's a great place to be at his age because that's talking about the life that you lived, right? So karmically, the life that he lived, retirement, all of those things now is coming through that 6 of diamonds. It's challenging him now, so it's challenging his reputation.
As it should. His reputation is flimsy.
Yeah. And the Jack of Spades is his Saturn card. It's his Neptune. So he got Neptune, Saturn. So he got that 10th house and the 12th house with the Jack of Spades.
Yep.
His reputation. This is about his reputation. Right? Saturn, the 10th house is about your reputation. So Biden's reputation, Donald Trump is going to pounce all over it because the 3 of diamonds is his Jupiter. And the 3 of diamonds has the Jack of Spades and Mars. And the Jack of Diamonds is his Saturn card.
Mm.
So this is about reputations now. Donald Trump ain't the president, right? So, everything that he says, can definitely be very, it's going to be very interesting to see the mudslinging that's going to be happening.
I mean, mudslinging, or is he just going to be revealing the truth?
Now I'm
Because
talking about back and forth.
Okay, between the two of them, absolutely.
Yeah, you throw it, I'm gonna throw it back. Yeah, it's gonna definitely be interesting. Biden's not gonna just lay down. That's for sure. It's just his reputation. He's a lame duck president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. You do. Who wants to be a lame duck? You see what they did to Jimmy Carter.
Earl.
Biden is not trying to be a lame duck president, so he got to get a bag of tricks and come out. And you see, but Nancy Pelosi said bye.
She did. She got out quick. I was
said,
wondering about that. I was like, everybody's exiting stage left real
she
quick
said,
before this
she
Pluto
said,
return.
she said, yep. She said, not my monkeys,
Not
right?
my circus. I am out before you get me. You had a question. What about Ron DeSantis?
Ron DeSantis. Who is Ron DeSantis?
What's his card as well? Nancy said, holla.
Yeah, Nancy's a 10 of clubs, right? Isn't she a 10 of clubs?
Let's look it up and
I
see.
think she's a 10. I know she's a clubs. She said she fell over her husband's something. She said it's time for us to you getting hurt. Now I'm falling over your stuff. Time for us to go sit on an island someplace.
Somewhere. She's March 26th.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the clubs.
Yep. So she said, "Yep, I've done all from God in my country."
Mm, mm,
So,
mm.
yeah, we've got a lot to look. We got a lot to look forward. These are great times to be in. There's so many things that are going on out there that are happening. It's going to happen. But how do you navigate it? Just like with the young lady that was killed, right?
Yeah.
In Mexico. Looking back at that, it just made me think about the five of clubs and Pluto. So the five of clubs and Pluto, the two of diamonds was displacing it for 6 months. So those were intimate relationships. And the two of diamonds can be a very five of clubs and two of diamonds together. Those are two cards that can be very jealous, right? They can be. Five of clubs likes a lot of attention. It's Mercury. And the two of diamonds is Mars. So putting that energy together, you can have that was a lot of disruption in relationships, right? That's the soulmate. The five of clubs is the supporting karma card. The challenging karma card is the five of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of disruption in relationships for 6 months out of the year with it in Pluto, intimate relationships. So this was something that was going on between them for a long time. For at least 6 months out of the year, that group of people had some, interesting comings together and planning that trip. Thinking about planning that trip. They were not planning that trip for good reasons, right? The five of spades is displacing the two of diamonds, and she's the five of spades.
She's a five of spades, and isn't the five of spades the cards of a violent ending?
Yep, disruptions and all kind of things can happen with that five of spades. And the five of diamonds was the Mercury card displacing the jack of spades.
So lies, hidden agendas, people acting.
And the five of hearts is the Pluto card.
Yep.
The challenging karma card is Pluto. So yeah, that was a very volatile situation there. That can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. They did not like her.
They did not.
They did not like her. They were very jealous of her. She didn't see it coming. She really didn't see it coming. The five of spades is Venus Mars, right? So she paid for the trip. So think about, she was someone that had a good heart, and they took advantage of it, because that's Taurus. That's the material world. So her friendships were in her material world. Right? And they took advantage of that. They say, you want to pay for it? We'll let you pay for it.
And kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was premeditated, low
Meditated.
key, for sure. It was definitely, and you know what? I wouldn't even say that it was premeditated that that was going to happen, but it was just like it was something was going to happen. It didn't have to be that violent, but that was like an initiation for her to know she wasn't all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't have to be as violent, but they said we're gonna teach her something. We took her all the way to Mexico and we're gonna teach her something, right? And you think about it, the three of clubs is sitting in trans Pluto. Those are intimate relationships. Intimate relationships. And the three of clubs is a card that supports the five of hearts.
Hearts.
And the three of clubs is a card of teenagers. And so it was definitely something that they came together in their little witches brew, and they were talking about her all the time. It's like they were building up that she thinks she's all of that. We're
That.
going to use her. We're going to use her. We're going to get everything that we can get out of her. They didn't mean to kill her, you
Yeah,
know.
that's what they were saying. That they thought it went left. They weren't planning to kill her, but I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't think they were going. No, they didn't think they didn't think it was going to go as bad as it went, right? But jealousy and anger, and then to find out that the girl that did it was a transgender.
No, she's not. She's not.
She's not. They proved
Mm-mm.
it's not now.
Yeah, they proved it's not. We were watching. I was doing my investigative work with that
Hmm.
Five of Hearts. No, they said she is 100% woman.
Okay, she just was mean.
She was just mean and has a hard face.
I didn't even think of the face as much, but I could see the anger from the jealousy coming from that. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking of, that jealousy of, that would, be between, someone like that, because they were trying to say that it was maybe a love triangle or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were saying it was a love triangle, but I think it was just more so of the fact that they were just jealous of the fact that she was beautiful. That's all it was. And
And
it's
she
crazy.
was free because she's running around naked. She's like running around. She says, okay, don't take that long for y'all to get naked.
Naked.
So, but they were going skinny dipping or something, right?
Well, when they were, did you see the actual the video with the fight? They said she was sleeping, and her family confirmed that she sleeps naked. And so they went
Oh.
into her room that morning to assault her. So they must
Mm-hmm.
have woken her out of sleep
Mm-hmm.
to do this to her, because you can see as they're fighting her, one, she's not fighting back, and then she slumps on the floor like she doesn't even have any fight in her to retaliate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. But so the video, was she taking the video the day before or something?
That was the night before, but she was like, "It don't take that long to
Oh,
get
okay.
naked." Yeah, that's why it was the night before. But you could
So
see
that
even
wasn't the morning.
that wasn't the
Okay.
morning.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That even as she's coming in the room, you can see that there was an icy reception. Like people were not happy to see her when she came into the room to even say that. Like they were having a discussion that she walked in on, and you know when people are talking about you when you come into the room.
Yeah, she was very naive.
Very
Very naive, and loved. She was loved by her family.
family.
So she didn't, I was talking to someone today. I wasn't yet 16, and I was hanging out with some girls from the hood, doing stuff, being someplace I wasn't supposed to be at, right? But
Hmm.
nonetheless, in Brooklyn, that's what we did. Go where we were supposed to go, right? And we had stopped and everybody was talking, right? And I wasn't paying any attention. I mean, they were getting ready to jump me, right?
Mm.
And I heard somebody say she got six brothers, and they was like, "Oh, okay." They were getting ready to jump me. Why would you say she got six
It's
brothers?
brothers.
And I didn't think about that until years later when I was an adult. I was like, they was gonna beat my ass.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know it happens. I heard somebody say she got six brothers, and I had six street dudes. My brother's five, the younger one. They were street dudes, so they knew they're my brothers. The person who told them that was like, "You don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
You don't want to mess with her." So
Mm.
it was funny. I was thinking about that years later. I was sitting and I said, "You know how I don't know how things just pop in your head." I said, we was on the other side. I'm going on the other side of Botanic Gardens in a secluded place, right?
Yeah.
And they were getting ready to jump my ass. Why? I don't know what I did.
It
I
don't take
don't
much.
know.
It
I
doesn't
don't,
take much. That's
you
why I was
know.
asking you to, when we identify the pain body in the US, like what is the overall energy of envy? Because it doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
take much for people not to
Doesn't.
like you anymore.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I must have been about 14 or something. And I just heard somebody say, "Oh, yeah, she got six brothers." And I'm like, you didn't think about it. And we just went off about our business. They were going to fuck me up right there. They was like,
Hmm.
and you don't even know why. Women, young girls, you don't even know why.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
A high power, don't be green in that way. When you just know that you have no friends, you are your only friend. And then
Yeah.
Aza said after she broke her neck, another girl came back and beat her up because she also had an issue with her in regards to something that was said months ago. Yeah, from what I heard, the same one who was beating her up in the video after she stopped, the light skinned one, I believe her name is Winter Donovan, picked her up and body slammed her, and that's what broke the spinal cord.
Ugh. And you see, that's like a feeding frenzy. That's
Mm-hmm.
like people that like they were sitting in that room and they all feeding on the hatred
Mm-hmm.
and the anger that they
Mm-hmm.
felt for her. Because the father said they had taken some money from her or something, and she paid
Mm-hmm.
for the trip.
Yep.
So that anger of I want from you, but I'm jealous of
Of
you.
you. And that's what I was saying. All of the young folks out there, even us, like, don't do anything for friends. Mm-mm. If you feel like giving, if you have that year, if you're in a 9 personal year or you're a 9 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, and you have to give, that's definitely a part of who you are. But give to people who don't have. My mother always told me, give to people who are less fortunate, give to homeless shelters, give to people who really need. Because friends, when you think that you're helping your friend or doing it out of love, they look at it as a way of, oh, she thinks she's better than me. It's a
Girl, I went
weird
through
energy.
I went through a whole year that last year with a five of diamonds. So I
Hmm.
don't, it's like people have stuff going on that you don't know anything about.
Exactly.
You don't know what triggers people into thinking that you thinking something that you're not even thinking, right?
Yep.
Jealous and envy it is a serious thing. Jealous and envy, you got to be careful of it, because you know how sometimes when you were younger you say, and your mother would say, that's not your friend, right?
Yep. And you just want to sit there and fight your mother like, yes, she
Mm-hmm.
is. Not even seeing.
Mm-hmm. Your mother's like, that is not your friend. And you're like, what do you mean that's not my friend? It's like you could see it as an adult that there's something else going on there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you gotta be careful. You got going to Mexico, leaving the country. They needed to be vetted, and more vetted.
And it's crazy because the day that she died was October 29th. That is a 6 of hearts. 6 of hearts is Jupiter, Jupiter this
Mm.
year, and 66 birth. So, and that's the card of jealousy and envy as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mars, for sure, for sure. Wow, that's deep. But yeah, you just have to be careful because, like I said, I was gonna get myself beat up that day. And what was it, initiation or something? We
Wow.
were just walking along. It was probably about five of us. We were just walking along, and we stopped for whatever reason. That was the moment where and it was one person. I don't even remember her name now, but she was the ringleader.
Mm.
I would. Yeah, she was the ringleader, and I just remember somebody saying she got six brothers. And then everybody just started. We were walking down, going down. What's that? Is that Grand Army Plaza? No, not Grand Army. What's that? Empire. Going toward Empire.
Yeah, Boulevard.
Coming down Washington Avenue. We're going across to go over there to get something to eat at Weston's or one of those restaurants we used to go eat at.
Yeah, and that street is a long and
It's
quiet street.
long, quiet street, right, where you could hide a body.
Yep.
It's like
Put it right in the park right there, and nobody would even know.
I was sitting thinking one day and it just hit me. I said, why did they say you have six brothers?
Hmm.
Why would that be a conversation? I was like, wow, they didn't like you.
Mm-mm.
But you think about life. I've been in that situation as an adult multiple times. I have. I've been in that situation, especially with being an eight of diamonds and people thinking I'm overconfident, thinking, whatever you're going through at that time, and people thinking you think more of yourself than I'm going to always think of myself. I
Self.
can't help that. That's
Yep.
how I was raised. And no matter what, my mother, I always thought we were rich, wealthy. That's how my mother was. She was very, she came from the Caribbean background. She came from Barbados, which automatically thought they were all of that in the bag of chips, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she was a very proud woman. And no matter what, you had to hold your head up high. You had to carry
Exactly.
yourself
A certain
like
way.
you were. Yes, my mother didn't, she did not, she instilled that. So that's why I don't talk to a lot of people. I don't. I sit and I listen to people who have a lot going on, and I don't know what to say because I didn't have that experience. And I found that people don't want to hear that I'm happy,
No, they
right?
don't. They
They
don't.
don't. People don't want to hear that shit. People want to hear what's wrong, who
Mm-hmm.
beat you,
Mm-hmm.
and who did this to you. And I had the same things happen. I had things happen to me, but for me, it's recovery. You go through life, but you got to recover from stuff. So
Right.
I didn't stay in the pain body. Thank goodness, right?
Yeah. This is crazy, Diamond.
That pain body. Look at how young they were. Look at what was going on in their intimate. That's what I'm saying about Pluto and that five of clubs. Those were intimate relationships with people that they knew that they weren't doing the work with. They weren't preparing themselves to be able to go on a trip. They weren't doing those things that they needed to do. And because she did it, they were jealous and envious.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I was thinking too, she probably was the only spade in the bunch, and she was a five of spades. So she was the senior of the group. So they must have
She
been,
was the
they
yes.
resented her because she had a wisdom. She probably was definitely on them, like, you guys ain't doing XYZ. She had her own business. So they're probably looking at her like, oh, she definitely thinks she's all of that, not recognizing that this woman has past life experience coming back as a senior. She's done this already.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, she's a senior. She's a spade, and she had a good heart.
Mm-hmm.
Who takes their friends on a trip like that? That's
To
somebody.
Cabo, not even to like the other part where everybody goes, the Punta Cana, whatever they. No, that's Dominican Republic. What's the
Mhm.
other one? I forget because I haven't been to the other parts. But Cabo is the most expensive part of Mexico.
Wow. Yes, people don't want to hear you. People envious. Yeah, and it break that. That's one thing I don't think about a lot of things, but that's something that breaks my heart. It does that you can't just sit and just have good conversations. That's difficult. It's like my friends that I've been with all my life. We all got some trauma, but when we get together, we want to have fun. We don't want to
Exactly.
talk
We want
about
to
that.
laugh and have a good time, talk
Yes.
stupidness, and just
We don't
laugh.
want to talk about all of that. It's like you heal from that stuff and you do that in your intimate time. So, yeah, I had to learn, being a social worker gives you tools to deal with a lot of things. But I had to learn in certain situations, I just had to be quiet.
Mm.
Just had to be quiet. It's like you don't need to say anything, just be. And it got so at work that sometimes I would make up stuff and make it worse than it was. I
Mm.
would do that. I would make situations worse than they were so people wouldn't think that I thought I was better
All of
than
that.
anybody. Yeah. Yeah, I have
Wow.
problems too. I would, especially if something happened with the kids, I would go in on it and have good conversations about it. If, just so people could see that everything isn't hunky
Always peachy.
dory, but you don't want to talk about it.
Ooh, this is a crazy world. See that
It
I can't
is.
do that. I can't get there and make up a story or even harp on the things that aren't going well with that seven of clubs that I have in Uranus because
I
that
know,
shit will
right?
be
I
real.
know that'd be real dark. But I'm a storyteller. I got King of Spades and Mercury.
Right.
I got 52 cards.
So you playing any hand right
I
now.
could play if this is who we were with. This is what y'all want to talk about. I would sometimes just get in, and do that. And I learned it because I would see people stress alleviate. So I
Mm.
learned, I pay attention to everything. So I would learn and see people would feel, you could see where they would feel because everything wasn't so perfect. So I learned to adapt to it. I sure did.
Wow.
Sure did. You got to learn how to live in this. At work, I did that
Wow.
because I work with some very interesting people.
I can
So
imagine.
So I would sit, they would be talking about their home life, and I would just throw a little bit in there that was going on, so they would see. Because no, I don't talk about that stuff, private stuff. What are you talking about that for? Right? You don't talk
Mm.
about private. We weren't allowed to growing up. What happened in the
A
house stayed
home,
in the
stayed in
house.
a home. Yeah, right.
You didn't go out talking about, man, you didn't want that to get back to the parents that you were talking about anything was going on in your house. So, right? You didn't want nobody to know nothing. Man, you know what? Oh my gosh, that was forbidden. That was forbidden. That was
Yeah.
forbidden. So why would you want to talk about it? So things happen in your life between you and your husband, between you and your children. You don't want to go to work with that, but that's what happens. People come to work and that's what they do, right? They sit around
Mm.
and they talk about, the pain body.
This is crazy. This is so unfortunate, but I'm glad that you unearthed that this conversation happened on US soil 6 months ago because it was premeditated in US soil. They're going to be convicted on US soil.
That part, because they sure one thing about that five of spades, and remember, this is something that is so when we look at what happened with Chris Rock, he's a five of spades, right?
Hmm.
So that slap was something that woke the five of spades up.
Right.
So when that happened, it was a marker for the five of spades, which is disruption. So with her being a five of spades, this hit hard. This hit people hard.
It does.
It hit people hard. It's displacing the two of diamonds, and the challenging karma card is John the Baptist, the
It's six of
messenger.
clubs. Oy.
Right? The
Yes.
messenger. So they're looking at this as some sort of prophecy, all kind of things. And that's how these energies play off. Because yeah, the
Hmm.
five of spades was very powerful this year. When Chris Rock got slapped, we don't hear nothing about Will Smith no more.
Nothing. He's just faded into oblivion.
So that five of spades is the disruptor, and Chris Rock is getting ready to do he's the first person to do a live on Netflix. He's doing a live conference whatever
A
on
live
Netflix.
comedy show on
Yep.
Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So he got that slap and everything, whatever happened, but Will Smith is faded into oblivion.
Gone.
So that five of spades a very powerful game changer. So this happening. I was on because I don't go on TikTok. Man, I ain't seen some of the videos with people talking about this on TikTok.
Forever. But you know what's crazy? I'm glad that you even raised the issue that the six of clubs is the challenging karma card because the friends are talking on each other like they are on all kinds of lives and having discussions.
They are.
And why would you film this?
I seen one guy. He said when he got there, it already had happened, and he's trying to clear his name.
He
But
lying.
I didn't see anybody else. Wow.
They're deleting all their pages, but what's happening is they told the family one thing, but they're going back and telling the friends in the neighborhood, yeah, I went and I beat that bitch ass. So
They
why
did say that. So they didn't know she was dead,
they knew she was dead?
and you still gonna come back and say you beat her? Oh wow.
That's that six of clubs. See what I'm saying?
That's
Because we're
six
gonna
of
make you
clubs.
talk.
Gonna make you talk. Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
If you're going to
Yeah,
tell the family she died of alcohol poisoning, you got to stick to the story all the way through. If you're going to be a criminal, but that's five, that's six, that five of spades was like, nope, we're going to make you talk.
gonna make you talk. That six of clubs is you gonna talk. You gonna speak. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely it's hitting hard. That five of spades is hitting, and people feel it, and because it is the game changer. It's all of the fives together.
Yeah.
So it's the game changer. And the five of hearts is the Pluto.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, this was something that they had been planning with that five of cups being the Pluto card, and the two of diamonds sitting there this year. There is definitely intimate relationships. Intimate. This was intimacy and jealousy. Two of diamonds could be a very jealous card.
Mm,
It's Mars Saturn. It could
mm.
be a low vibrational. It's like you don't understand, because it's a two. So twos want to work together. But if you are not appreciating what that two of diamonds is bringing to the table, that could be a very difficult card. They want appreciation,
Yeah, they do.
right? Mars.
Mm.
So we're going to see how it comes. She says six of clubs is her birth card.
Card. Yeah, girl. Let's start shouting it to the heavens. Go tell it on the mountain, darling. That's six of clubs. You got a
She's
message to deliver.
She said the five of spades is usually events that happens to them. I don't know what that means. Five of spades is the disruptor.
Yeah, it
So
is.
it's not a respecter of persons, right? It's a disruptor. So yeah, and it will definitely, and to have that kind of energy that if you're around people and remember spades of fire. So when she's around and she's whatever she's doing and stuff like that, that's that jealousy. It's like she got too much going on.
Yep.
She's a five of spades.
Five of spades. She got the shit going. She's sparking it up. She has all the answers. She could be any one of them. She could own them.
Or she said like Chris Rock being slapped and Nixon being impeached. Yeah, that's the downside of it. He said being slapped. Kate Princess is England being accused by Meghan Markle. Oh, I don't know what that is. But yep, thank you. This was so dope. This was dope. We broke that down. We did that one,
Really
right?
did. Before we go, Tammy, you asked a question earlier. You said, if you change your name, do you start a new karmic debt cycle with the new name, or does the old name karmic debts only apply? And so this question has multiple layers. So if the old name has karmic debt, it depends on what that old name was. Is that your old name as your birth name, the name that you were born with? If it's the name that you were born with and it has karmic debt attached to it, you can't change that.
Can't change that.
You're going to have to transcend that. The new name can allow you to either enhance the positive aspects or make it worse depending on the vibration of the new name. And so you have to know what that new name number stands for, if you're actually giving yourself a benefit or if you're making it worse.
That's why you got book a reading with Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm Nina with two E's.
Nina with two E's, darling.
I was Nina with one eye, and now I'm Nina with two E's. So you got to book a reading with Jazz to get that source. Because I'm telling you, my life has changed since I'm Nina with two E's.
Two E's is very seductive. Before she was Nina. Now she's
I was just Nina. And it's like when people would talk, it's like I go to restaurants now and they say, well, she's Nina. Like I know they be like, what's up with her, girl?
This Nina.
I know they be like, because I'd be like, Nina. I'm telling you, it gives you a spring in your step when you got that good juju.
Yes,
right?
It does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, you change it up. You got to change it up because Nina is my nickname. It's not my given name, but it's a name that everybody calls me in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did he change his name? He benefited from Brother Love. We did that last time. You got to
Yeah.
look at our
Yeah, look at
video.
that
We
one,
broke
Elise.
that down.
You broke
Not
that one down.
necessarily the best move for him.
Yeah, it wasn't the best look for him to change that to Brother Love.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah, that wasn't a good look for him to change it. She said we're all gonna have two
Two
E's,
E's.
right?
We got to start playing with the two
Yes.
eyes. Remember, I changed mine to two eyes. That's what Spirit told me to do. So we got to see what other vowels we can add.
Yeah, you got to see what it makes sense because you could spell it that way. So you changing the spelling and you changing the vibration with this, it's still the same name.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you gotta she said double E. Yes, Nina with two E's. I mean, there people in restaurants be like,
What?
I said, yes, Nina with two E's.
She said Nina.
I mean, I have to laugh at myself every time I say it. It just feels so good. You want to feel good. You got to find ways to improve upon stuff, right?
Yes, you
And if it's
do.
as simple as just changing, my name is Diamond, my name is Nina, my name is Goldie. Who knows what my other avatar will be, right? She
That is
said her name is Ghostin.
Houston. That's a Q.
Houston, Houston,
Hate it.
Houston, Houston.
I can see
She
why
said I
you hated
hated
it.
it. She said she loves the double vowels in names. There's a flow.
Flow.
I know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Goddess. She said,
Mm-hmm.
put some respect on it. That's right. Put some respect on that name. They be like, okay, Nina. I mean, literally. Okay, Nina. No,
No, no,
Nina.
Nina. Say it with me now. Nina.
Nina.
I
Right?
love it. I'm mad.
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun. It's like got a whole new spring in my step.
That's why you guys got to join the class. We have 2 cohorts starting up in January 2nd and January 3rd are the start dates. So we have a level 1 and a level 2. So if you want to get some of that name juju, join the class so you can learn the secret sauce to changing your name and actually embodying the energy that you want to put out into the universe. So there's an art to this. Whatever you want to be, you can change your name and become that with the frequency of the name. So
That part.
hit up the website, stshealing.com on the banner. All the information is there.
And join us in New Orleans. We're going to be in New Orleans, Mardi Gras. We're having our first healing, and the theme is healing mother wounds. So your mother wounds, the wounds that you have, that your children have, I'm telling you, is deep. This is deep. What I have discovered in the cards with mother wounds. I'm telling you. So this is going to be a very healing. And we're gonna get a chance to be together and break bread, and then we're gonna have some healing circles, and all done in New Orleans.
New Orleans. And it would be nice if mothers can come with their daughters, especially if the mothers and daughters are in the 20s and 40s, or however, if the daughters are a little bit older, that would be great. So you can
Yes. Aquarius Maximus may be there. Who knows if she could fit it
right?
in, but
I know
that would
she's
be-
running for Congress now.
Yes, I mean it's like who are you? My mother? No. So we'll see if she gonna be in the building. I'm telling you, we can't have no more wounds to heal. I'm just saying. I'm over me and her. She said grandmother and granddaughter. I know, right? That'll be. She said, I got the alpha and the omega letters, Aza. That 5 of diamonds. Aza. I know that's right. When you say your name, it just, that commands.
Well, that one energy up in there. Girl.
I'm telling you. So you got to do Aza and put something on the end. What letter would she put on the end of Aza?
I would not put anything on the end of Aza because Aza is a good vibration. If you're looking at Aza alone with the Pythagorean alphabet, that's a 10. That's a nice number.
Okay.
Well, it's a 10 with the Chaldean, excuse me, and with the Pythagorean, it's an 11. So,
Ooh,
yeah, Oz is a good one.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
Oz is a
some,
dope one.
that's why you ain't gonna have no man.
Exactly, with all that one energy.
That's the problem right there, ma'am. You gotta put something to calm that down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. That 11 and the 10, girl. Ain't no man putting up with that.
I just got the appointment, Tama Samoa. Thank you, darling. See you on Monday.
Yeah, ain't nobody putting up with that, Ozzy.
Yeah, so you gotta really be mindful of all those ones. And it's a 1 with an 8 in the middle of it. Oof. Yeah.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah.
That part. You know, Nina. Nina is sexy. She's sweet.
And she's seductive with that
She's
5
seductive,
energy.
honey. She got that 5 energy. So when I say Nina, like turn my head, Nina with 2 E's.
It's Nina is a freak, darling. She got nothing but 5s in her name.
That's all she got. 5s. That's
5.
right. And she's a Libra ruled by Venus. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Possess me, baby. No, let me stop. Nope.
Yes. I love it. We got to save all of that for New Orleans. Save all of that.
I'm telling you, boy, when y'all see me walking down Bourbon Street, when you see me walking down
I'm going to do the
street,
2-finger wave. Like,
walk on by.
exactly. I'm just going to do like, I see you. I'm gonna
That's right, because me and my boo
with the parasol.
with the parasol and the little umbrella drink.
Yes.
Y'all just walk on by. Don't even, y'all talk to me later on, but don't even act like you see me, right?
Oh, I love it. I'm mad. I'm mad.
You can't do nothing with me. I'm telling you, you can't. That's why I get in trouble. It's like people are like, what's really wrong with her? Nothing. Damn it.
I'm in my essence. I'm in my 5 energy.
Right. Who wants to be trauma all the time?
You gotta
it's
get out
like
of that
sometimes
thing.
you sitting there, you don't want to be with your own self. Like, girl, go ahead. Go fix that.
Talk about it.
No, I don't have no time for trauma. We in times where our ancestors, they look for these amazing times that we're in now where we can reinvent ourselves and be wherever we want to be. And nobody can do anything about it, right? Reinvent yourself. Make your life into that fairy tale, you know, that you want in your head and watch it unfold, right? Watch it unfold. I want y'all to count the time till y'all see my boo. You're gonna be like, "Dig, Diamond, you ain't gonna see him, no, but you're gonna know. But you ain't gonna see him."
You said Mary is my middle name, and still what, Isla? What are you saying? Mary starts with a 4.
That's Marie.
Yeah, Marie, that's a strange energy with the 4. So just know, y'all keep a lot of things under the surface with that M. M's are above and below the surface. So a lot of things are hidden. Keep a lot of emotions to yourself. So in one way, in one name, you're coming out the gate just being very aggressive and pushing forward. And in the other, you have things hidden underneath the surface and not really revealing your true emotions because you're afraid of rejection.
Wow.
So
wow, Asa. Mystery. That mystery woman, right? That makes sense. 5, right? She's a 5 of diamonds. That all makes sense. That Queen of Spades and Mercury definitely is going to not let you know a lot, right? That's deep. You need a coach. You need a coach, girl. You need help. You need a coach. You need somebody to help you for sure.
Yeah. Don't worry, we here, girl. I'll teach you how to get them, but I can't teach you how to get rid of them. I'm saying.
I know, right? That's the part. Ooh, child. Ooh, man. New Orleans. Well, I hope to see y'all there. And don't be square. Because we're going to be out there in them streets.
Screets.
Some screets. So have a great night, fam. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and the holiday. The kids are out of school now, right? School is closed, right? So you home with your kiddies getting ready for this overflow. Remember, this is the month of the overflow. This isn't the month of the overspending. It's the month of the overflow.
Mm.
Right? So get into your overflow. Talk to your ancestors. I'm telling you, I had a dream last night. My ancestors, it was crazy. My dream, whatever happened, it was with Carmen. I was with Carmen in a dream, the four diamonds, and she came and she said, "Here, take this $10."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Okay." She said, "Take this $10." I said, "That's a 10 of hearts, right?" Oh my gosh, the dream was so powerful. I was with Carmen. You know, four diamonds, she is, whew, it was crazy. My dreams, I've been having some deep dreams. So let's talk to our ancestors. Let's ask our ancestors to show us the way. No, not they are showing us the way.
They are.
Ask them to help us to see the way because they showing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's get with our ancestors because they want us to win, right?
All of that.
They
That
want
part.
us to
Yeah.
win.
That is so weird.
So have a great one, fam.
Thank you,
Peace.
fam.